This was the effect of the East Area Rapist.
Deadbolts, and we put up the tape and burglar alarms. And, you know, I feel pretty secure. I have a deadbolt on my bedroom door.
Self-defense classes, people with no idea how to shoot buying guns. From June until December of 1976, one man raped 10 women in Rancho Cordova, Citrus Heights, and Carmichael. Press conferences about rapes became all too regular.
If he was contacted on the street, he would be complacent, cooperative. However, if he was put in a threatening situation, he could be very dangerous.
Investigators displayed maps of targeted areas. All the while, the East Area Rapist grew more and more terrifying.
He told the female victim, in effect, that if he saw anything in the newspapers or on television or heard on the radio, anything about this latest attack, he would kill 2 people tonight.
So the circuits are busy. We try it later.
All this in an era when the Sacramento Police Dispatch had an actual switchboard.
A recent rape victim had precious seconds to telephone for help. She dialed operator. Unfortunately, the operator did not come in on the line. Even when calling the local sheriff's office, when all circuits are tied up, the number still rings in an annex and cannot be heard or answered until a line clears.
By the time KCRA spoke with Detective Carol Daly, she had joined the EAR task force and interviewed many of the victims. They had an artist's rendering of a suspect and an MO.
A light is shining in the eyes. The woman is usually the first one to awaken, and the only thing that is visible is the round light and the shadow of a gun being pointed directly at her.
1977 saw 16 more rapes. Reports were the man would look for women in single-story homes.
Most of the multiple rapists attack on impulse, and so they have no predetermined point of attack. There is no way to calculate a pattern of where they're going to strike next.
When the rapist found a home with a couple in it, he would tie up the man and place dishes on his back. He told the couple if he heard a single dish break, he'd kill them both. He'd then rape the woman.
The rapist struck in North Modesto around 3 o'clock Monday morning.
As time moved from 1978 to 1979, more than 40 were raped and 2 people had been murdered. He added Modesto, Stockton, Davis, Concord, San Ramon, San Jose, Danville, and Walnut Creek to his territory. And then the rapes abruptly stopped.
There are 2 things unknown about the rapist currently terrorizing Sacramento.
The legacy of this violent streak lasts so long you can see the passage of time in a single reporter, KCRA's Mike Boyd, through the years searching for the East Area Rapist.
In 1998, Contra Costa County submitted its DNA evidence to Orange County.
And into the turn of the century, when DNA technology made a connection between the East Area rapes and a murder spree in Southern California.
But as I sat and thought about it, I realized this is potentially a big deal.
By this point, another name, Golden State Killer, had been given to the man. They added 10 murders in Goleta, Ventura County, Dana Point, and Irvine to his list. Investigators had hope the new DNA connection would take down the killer.
And is either in a database somewhere or is waiting to be put into a database. When that happens, then there will be the hit.
But by 2016, 40 years after the first rape, no hits. The FBI announced a reward, but new publicity and a DNA match led to today's announcement of the arrest of Joseph DeAngelo and the possibility that the grip of one man's rape and murder spree might finally be over.